Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive insights, and we go as guided. And at some point for this week's show, I just had to say to the unseen, stop. There's so much coming in. There is, and it's powerful, it's magnifying, It's great. You can see the smile on my face. So welcome, Olivia. Welcome, Alicia. So I'm going to just jump right in because there's so much to cover. And we are piggybacking, remember, from last week's episode on 8/14, August 14th. We're looking at that Mars-Jupiter conjunction that occurred last week. And then, of course, the squares, astrologically speaking, there are many squares. You're going to see there are two T-squares going on. There's the Aquarius full blue supermoon that just occurred on Monday. I mean, there's incredible as above, so below energies. So let's jump in. This is from astrologer Chani Nicholas, and it's just setting the tone. I want to set the tone with this. She said, get ready to level up. This week's astrology comes in screaming, crying, and throwing wrenches in our plans, which means it also brings a lesson in patient persistence. Commit to meeting your needs and being super flexible. We can't show up perfect, but we can always show up perfectly human. Welcome, Sue. So you get the impact. These energies are coming in screaming, crying, and throwing wrenches. But more than that, it is this incredible opportunity. This is as the unseen gave us, our theme for this week, a cosmic reset. So I'm just going to bring up the main theme here for a moment, a cosmic reset. And what you see is this just beautiful celestial swirling, this force. And that's what I originally had the theme as, is a cosmic force. And the unseen said, yes, however, it's a cosmic reset. And then they said, the unseen speaks. And so this cosmic swirling, vibrant, radiating colors of the rainbow, and they're electric. And you see really the cosmos in the image. So it's a cosmic reset. It's a cosmic force, but it's a cosmic reset. And why is that so? We're going to jump to the actual astrological chart. I want you to see in the center of the chart, this is the horary chart for the Aquarius full blue supermoon. It's one of four blue moons, supermoons, that's occurring this year. In the center the inner circle, you see two red triangles. Those denote T-squares. And one of the red triangles denotes a fixed T-square, meaning it's in fixed signs, Aquarius, Taurus, and Virgo. Pardon me, not Virgo, Leo. And then the other one is mutable. So we have this incredible double overlapping, these overlapping T-squares. T-squares denote friction, energy that must be released, that will be released. And so right off the bat, so we're playing with this image. I'm going to bring this up quite a bit throughout the show. Double T-squares, one fixed in fixed signs, one in mutable signs. They incorporate 8 planets. Then you'll see as well the blue. There's a blue triangle and a blue line. Those represent trines and positive aspects. And they then bring in Pluto and Neptune. So literally all the planets are involved. And astrologically speaking, I'm shifting screens here for a moment to show you, on the 18th, the Sun and Mercury have their cazimi. On the 19th, we have the full blue supermoon. We have the double T-squares that I've been talking about. And what the universe said, the unseen said, was double Dutch yow. Like these two T-squares is a double Dutch yow. And remember, we had double Dutch a few episodes ago. And it says, a history of the game written by David A. Walker, the founder of the sport, traces the probable origins to ancient Phoenician, Egyptian, and Chinese rope makers. They plied their craft at rope walks, spaces 900 feet or more in length, usually near seaports. With a bunch of hemp around their waists and 2 strands attached to the wheel, the rope makers walked backwards, twisting the rope into uniformity. As the runners traveled the cluttered floor, supplying the spinners with hemp, they had to jump the twisting rope. To make their deliveries, they needed quick feet, lithe bodies, and good eye perception. Double Dutch. It's double Dutch jump rope. These double T-squares on an Aquarius full moon, supermoon, blue moon. And so there's an act. There's an act of Congress going on. Congress, as above, so below, but in the heavens, an act of Congress, an act of the unseen, just pouring forth change. This weaving, this twisting and weaving to bring about deliverance, advance. And of course, we've been talking about this since we began. This was all in November of 2021. It was about the return of the divine feminine. And so we've been talking about this. Now, along with double Dutch yow goes reality check - new reality. So these energies are heightened, magnified. They are going to create a reality check along with a new reality. And last but not least, I saw this and it just clicked, and it said, legends unite. So legends coming together. So when we look again at this astrological chart, look at the heavy hitters, look at the players involved in these 2 T-squares. Uranus, Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, the Moon, Saturn. I mean, heavy hitters in these 2 T-squares, legends. And then with, again, the trines and the sextiles in the blue, the other 2 heavy hitters, Pluto and Neptune. I mean, everyone's involved is the point here. Everyone's involved. And the first thing that the unseen said, and I'm bringing up this beautiful image, they said, tipping the scales of democracy, liberty, freedom forward. And here you have this beautiful image of Lady Justice blindfolded, because truth and justice, it's something we know. It's something innate in us. It is not manufactured. It is authentic. So, of course, the image of Lady Justice, she's blindfolded, because justice, in that sense, reveals. And then they're tipping the scales of democracy, liberty, freedom forward. So the unseen, the powers that be, the legends uniting, are tipping the scales of democracy and liberty and freedom forward. Remember, all of this is coinciding. Last week on the 14th, this week on the 19th, all of this is culminating and coinciding with the Democratic National Convention, where their nominee is a woman. And so you're going to see, we're going to bring in some of the astrology by Lauren in a moment, just setting the stage. With all of these energies from last week, so main theme last week, a potent moment in time. And potent, having great power, influence, and effect. And moment in time, the exact instance when something occurs or a snapshot of a particular situation or event. So we've got this week we've got a cosmic force, the unseen speaks, a cosmic reset. See, the force, the reset, a cosmic reset. And then last week, a potent moment in time. Make no mistake, this is a very potent moment in time. And remember that they said that we would be able to look back, because we had, with the astrological influences, double Dutch Yow, reality check, new reality, legends unite, and literally as above, so below. Look at the legends uniting at the DNC. Current president, two former presidents, former first ladies. There's these legends unite. And then we had SHAZAM. It was from the comic that's kind of used to indicate an instantaneous transformation or appearance, as if by magic, and KA-POW. And it's used to convey the suddenness of an action or an event. And the unseen was saying, this is this knockout blow moment. We will look back and see and recognize this moment is the moment, that moment, where it all, a tipping of the scales of democracy, liberty, freedom forward, a cosmic reset. It's all about moving us forward. And so these energies, second thing from the unseen, they said heightened sensitivities. You are absolutely going to feel it. You're going to feel these energies. Welcome, Gate Girl. You're going to absolutely feel these energies. And so it is something, a note that they're saying, heightened sensitivities, you're absolutely going to feel it. We're going to feel it. We're going to feel the emotion of it. We're going to feel the surge of it. We're going to feel this moment in time. Feel it. Because a feeling invokes a memory. It's long lasting. It's going to stay with us. It's the moment that everything changed. And this can, again, micro, macro, it applies to every individual. It will be that crowning, defining moment where things changed, where things advanced, where we were either, again, proactively or reactively moved forward. Depends on us. So let's go into, I want to take a quick look at the Astrology by Lauren. She does a beautiful write-up. It's astrologybylauren.com. And she said, we have 4 super full moons this year. One of them is also an eclipse. The Aquarius full moon on October 19th will be the first of these. Supermoons are a little bit brighter and can even appear to be larger than usual, especially as the sun and moon are rising and setting. These supermoons are magnificent and powerful. Creators of the king tides, they have influence over the affairs of the earth as well as mankind. The closest of the super full moons will be the October moon, but this moon on October 19th is powerful in its own right. Full moons can be revelatory. They disclose things and bring things to a head. This is when we experience the consequences and rewards of previous actions and decisions. This is what full moons do. The new moons initiate, the full moons culminate. This moon in Aquarius is also exactly square, unpredictable, and revolutionary Uranus, one of the ruling planets of Aquarius, further propelling us on the Aquarian wave of change. With Uranus in the wings, at cross quarters with the sun and the moon, it could feel like we are standing on a precipice somewhere between the past and the future, and there is no turning back. The unseen, tipping the scales of democracy, liberty, freedom, forward. So we're right, that precipice, we're somewhere in between, and yet there's no turning back. And what she's speaking to here of, again, I'm just bringing up this chart, she's speaking about the red triangle where Uranus is at the tip. It's down towards just to the bottom left is where Uranus is. And then it goes over to the moon to the left and across to the sun and Mercury. So this is the fixed T-square that Lauren is talking about. Not all changes are welcome, but with such a strong Aquarian and Uranian message, we are being asked to ride the wave of change in order to align ourselves with intentions that were being seeded in years way back. This sort of change can be swift, unexpected, and can feel like our lives are being upended and overturned in the process. I mean, legends unite. Everything's just, it's powerful energies. I just keep laughing. But know that even when it can feel like chaos, the ultimate goals lean towards the Aquarius ideals being seeded. First, with the great conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn at 0 degrees of Aquarius in 2020, and the ingress of Pluto in Aquarius. So we're harking back to the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, this great conjunction that we covered regarding in 2020. And then Pluto ingressing into Aquarius, not since the French, American, and Industrial Revolutions. Big change. We could expect a few more twists and turns in the process. Not only are the moon and the sun square Uranus on Monday, the 19th, but so is Mercury square Uranus as well. The full moon coincides with the inferior conjunction of Mercury to the sun, the cazimi, the conjunction of Mercury and the sun, which occurs in the middle of the retrograde phase and commences a new Mercury cycle that lasts until December 5th. So remember, the sun, Mercury, anytime the planet comes into cazimi, into conjunction with the sun, it burns away the old. And so we're renewed, the way we think, the way we speak, the recognition that our words matter. Consumed with the sun's rays and invisible to the eye, ideas, like ripening seeds, are being planted in the fertile potential of the Mercury conjunction, beginning a whole new trend in thought and awareness. There's a whole new world, a whole new way of being. The full moon is only making it that much stronger in its effects. And as Mercury makes its conjunction to the sun, it is also making the second of its 3 squares to Uranus. Squares create friction. It's pent-up energy that must be released. The first occurred at the previous full moon on July 21st. This was when President Biden withdrew his candidacy for the next presidential election, seamlessly handing it over to Vice President Harris. Mercury-Uranus weather is unpredictable, surprising, and riddled with all sorts of extraordinary twists and turns. Interestingly, the second square and the full moon on Monday coincides with the Democratic National Convention, in which Vice President Harris's candidacy will be formally confirmed. For those who might be interested, the full moon at 27 degrees, so this full moon that's just occurring on Monday, the 19th of August, at 27 degrees of Aquarius, on the day of this convention, is exactly conjunct Vice President Harris's natal Saturn, positions of responsibility and authority, and the moon of the United States Sibley chart. The moon represents the people in a national chart. It also represents women. So this degree, this 27 degrees, is exactly mirroring, it's transiting the exact degrees in the United States' birth chart, natal chart, Sibley chart. So on the same day, in our own lives, we should also be prepared for sudden twists and turns. No matter where you are, plans can change, circumstances change, and it would not be surprising if you find yourself at a juncture in which you are adjusting to sudden recent changes, are becoming aware of changes that are being made, or are preparing for changes that are going to occur in the future. You keep hearing the word change, future, forward, advance, unexpected, micro, personal lives, individual lives, macro, the whole of the whole. On the same day as the full moon, Jupiter and Saturn perfect the first of 3 squares. This is important for so many reasons. So these legends uniting. For this is the first test to the great conjunction of 2020, when Jupiter and Saturn were exactly conjunct at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And remember, the anaretic degree, the 29th degree in astrology, and the 0 degree, very powerful degrees. Whatever seeds were being sown with the great conjunction, whatever new paradigms were needing to be initiated, the first open square is a time of opposing factions trying to achieve some sort of balance. At first, it will present as conflict. So there's 2 different visions, 2 different ideals, 2 different ways, one moving forward, the other one wanting to move backward. So it presents this open conflict. Conflict between the expansive nature of Jupiter to have the freedom to grow beyond its previous limits versus the consolidating and limiting nature of Saturn, which aims to protect and conserve. In many ways, this is a transit of contradiction. Jupiter in Gemini says yes to everything. Remember that, go, go, go. And Saturn in Pisces tells us that that is impossible. And yet, out of this conflict, a plan is gradually going to come together, honed with time, compromise, and resolution. In our own lives, we may find ourselves waffling back and forth and feeling indecisive about certain outcomes. Perhaps in some ways you are feeling stuck, but are taunted by the possibilities of a new vision for the future that the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction was trying to seed way back in April of 2024. This push-pull, this back and forth, this knowing that there's change, that we need to make change in our individual lives. And yet, the uncertainty of it, the awaiting the arrival of it, to be proactive and not reactive, all of these energies. Jupiter-Uranus was trying to inspire us with a vision back in April. The Jupiter-Saturn squares can show us the obstacles that are needing to be overcome in order to make that vision a closer and more achievable reality. So here we were teed up for these awarenesses, these energies, in April of 2024. Now we're coming into the moment. Mercury's going to go direct at the end of August. These T-squares are going to force the issues. They're open, so they're going to open up the way through, the way to. There are 3 of these squares. This one on August 19th, another when Jupiter is retrograde on December 24th, and the last will be in June of 2025, when Jupiter is in Cancer and Saturn is in Aries. This represents a period of crises and transition filled with restlessness and inner conflict. We know some sort of change is well nigh due, but making that a closer reality will require some major shifting around in order to make that so. So we're being faced with all of this change, challenge, opportunity to advance, opportunity to change, opportunity to release the past to receive the present future. And the only thing that will prevent that from happening is fear. It will be you. It will be an inside job. It will be fear. And yet, tipping the scales of democracy, liberty, freedom forward. These heightened sensitivities, you're absolutely going to feel it. Because It's calling us forward. The energies are imploring us forward. There is greatness ahead of us. We have experienced greatness behind us. However, that's where we experienced it in the past. So we don't need to go back to recapture it. We don't need to go back. We go forward to receive our greatness anew. There's newness available. Lauren concludes, last week, Mars conjunct Jupiter was activating the Jupiter-Saturn square. This week, Venus in Virgo comes into the picture, forming a pretty significant T-square in the mutable signs of Virgo, Venus, Gemini, Jupiter, and Pisces, Saturn. Once again, coincidentally or not, Venus will be exactly conjunct Vice President Harris's natal Venus, so her birth Venus in her natal chart, activating a revolutionary Venus, Uranus, Pluto conjunction in her natal chart. This is the sort of conjunction that breaks glass ceilings, a reference to Hillary Clinton talking about all of the thousands of cracks that were put in the glass ceiling. It changes paradigms and can even revolutionize the roles of women in society. Vice President Harris has a lot weighing on her shoulders this week, and we're all going along for the ride in our own lives as well. And she concludes with this quote from King Whitney Jr. Change has a considerable psychological impact on the human mind. To the fearful, it is threatening because it means that things may get worse, that things are changing. To the hopeful, it is encouraging because things may get better. To the confident, it is inspiring because the challenge exists to make things better. It's an opportunity. So these energies, these double T squares that are occurring now, they're going to play out. The other, the trines and the sextiles with Pluto and Neptune, these legends uniting are, I'm just hearing the Alicia Keys sing, this girl is on fire. It's kind of like the, welcome Kiki. These energies are on fire. And so we have, and why? Because legends unite. As above, so below. I did just a post recently, this came from tarot.com. Wellness often requires a certain amount of surrender. Surrendering the past, surrendering what no longer serves us, surrendering fears, insecurities, lack, surrender, so as to be the most empowered. And so there's a theme here of these legends uniting, heightened sensitivities, the tipping of the scales, and I was really amazed. I'm always amazed and in awe with the unseen. There are a lot that came through, a lot of messages that are coming through intuitively that are mirroring what is happening literally in our public sphere, in our public reality. Certainly against the backdrop of the United States' election, the Pluto return, all of these things. So one of them that came in that was just quite extraordinary. And I'm going to bring up this image. And I heard the unseen say, it's number 3, and they said, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And of course, this is from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It is the evil queen, if you will, asking the mirror. And fairest can mean in reference to beauty, who's the fairest of them all. But it can also mean who's the fairest, meaning who's good, who is good in the land. And so there was this beautiful, and what was so interesting, this is where, life as above, so below, and life imitating art and so forth. And in the headlines, of course, one candidate remarking that others were saying that the other candidate's beauty. And this candidate saying, I'm far more beautiful than she. And here is literally the unseen saying, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? It's not about looks. It's not a beauty contest. It's about who at their center is decent and good and fair, has empathy and compassion, is in service in a higher calling, who's in service to the whole, to the people. Aquarian age, we the people. And this was the message that the unseen, and it just, again, mirrored literal events occurring in real time. It's amazing to me that that's... so let's piggyback that to number 4 from the unseen. I heard the lyrics that started playing, and I finally realized that it was the song. It's from 1954 by the Chordettes, and it's the song Mr. Sandman. And, Mr. Sandman, sing me a tune, or so forth. I don't have the exact lyrics. It's playing in my head, but the lyrics are playing in my head. In a DreamWorks animation movie called Rise of the Guardians, the Sandman plays a very prominent role. And so just to give you a quick, the plot of Rise of the Guardians, animated movie by Paramount Pictures and DreamWorks Animation. Jack Frost emerges from a frozen pond with amnesia and finds himself invisible to the mortal realm. 3 centuries later, the Man in the Moon alerts Nicholas St. North of the resurgence of Pitch Black, Pitch Black is the boogeyman, who threatens to unleash nightmares upon children. North rallies his fellow guardians, E. Astor Bunnymund, Sanderson Mansnoozy, and Toothiana. So in essence, the Easter Bunny, Sandman, and the Tooth Fairy. And they discover that Jack has been chosen to join their ranks. Transported to the North Pole, Jack is told by North that every guardian has a center, which is something they foster in children. Jack knows nothing of his center and resists the call to become a guardian. So, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And then Rise of the Guardians, legends, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, Sandman, all coming together, legends coming together, Jack Frost coming together to oppose darkness, the boogeyman. Ultimately, the children's dreams prove stronger than the nightmares, who turn on Pitch and drag him into the underworld. Jack finally accepts his place as a guardian, the guardian of fun, so the guardian of joy. So the unseen is saying to us in this, a cosmic reset, the unseen speaks, that legends are uniting to overcome darkness, evil, those that seek to snuff out the light. And that, like in the movie Rise of the Guardians, what's required? Like Jack Frost, what's required? We all need to look within, and we need to see what's at our center. Who are you? Who am I? At my center. Not what my ego, mind, personality tells me. Not what society tells me, or the mask, the identities, the labels, the scripts, the stories that I've told myself. Soul source connection, my soul. What's at my center? Because it's a beautiful quote, your character is your fate. So what's at your center determines your experience. And this is what's on offer. And it's beautiful that the unseen is giving us two Yes, Kiki Law, legends gathered in Chicago. Exactly. This is literally everything as above, so below. It is literally, this moment in time is literally mirroring the Democratic National Convention. And you can't make it up if you try. You just can't. The timing of it, the revisiting during a Mercury retrograde. Put an RE in front of it during Mercury retrograde. So it's to revisit, relook at, reimagine, renew. It's all of these things coming together with these powerful T-squares. And I just want to bring up for a moment the actual, I'm going to share my screen really quickly with you all and just show you this. Look at the magnitude. This is the Aquarius full blue supermoon astrology chart. And here's the magnitude of these two, one mutable, one fixed T-squares in red. The sextiles and trines in blue, invoking every heavy hitter above. Pluto, Moon, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Venus, the Sun. I mean, it's all of them. All in. All coming together to move us forward, to tip the scales of democracy forward. And here's that beautiful image again. Because again, justice is blind, meaning it speaks for itself. The truth speaks for itself. What's in your center? What's in your heart? What do you know to be true? Now, when all is said and done, the unseen gave us number 5, and 5 denotes change. And I heard the song, the lyrics, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone, which means that these energies from last week, the Mars-Jupiter conjunction, all of these squares, these double T squares, all of this, the Aquarius, it's an Aquarian full blue supermoon, all of these energies are going to clear away the cobwebs. They're saying the clear away the cobwebs and the sorrows. It's a song. It's another song playing in my head. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. It's by Johnny Nash. So this is, it's not only what's on offer, it's what's happening. It is absolutely what's happening, what's occurring. And again, you're seeing people at the DNC that used to be affiliated with the opposition, with a different movement and so forth. And they're literally saying, when I stepped away from the vacuum, I could see clearly now. I could see where I was sucked in, wrong. So think of, again, Rise of the Guardians, pitch black, and how, because in the movie, he's snuffing out all of the hope, all of the light, all of the joy, all of the faith, all of the love. And what was required? They all had to go back to their center. They all had to look. Jack Frost had to look. Jamie, who was a main character in the movie, had to look. He was the lone holdout. But it only took one to restore the light. Because that faith and that hope and that determination rippled out. And so this is what is on offer at this moment. Now, number 6, and we've had this before, however, it was number 6, it denotes spirit and service, and the unseen said, and it is our mantra. So it's both our mantra and it's what the unseen said. And here's the image. The statement is, peace be with you. And you see this beautiful image because the color of these energies is pink. The unseen was very clear. The energies are pink. And in the image, you see all of these birds, kind of purpley horizon and so forth, and then pink sky with all of these birds. Birds denote spirit, the unseen speaking, communicating with us. So here, our mantra, peace be with you. It's number 6 from the Unseen, peace be with you. This is by Bethany Barrett on BibleStudyTools.com. And she said, the Gospels record the visits Master Jesus made to many people after the resurrection, including 1 to 11 of his disciples. There he said many things to them, including the phrase, peace be with you. He repeated this phrase several times. It was a common greeting among the Hebrew people during that period of history, but it also had significance when Master Jesus said it after the resurrection. He was both greeting his friends and encouraging them that God's peace would be with them at all times. The Hebrew word that was commonly used for this greeting and is still used today is shalom, which is often used for hello and goodbye. The chapter commonly organized in the Bible as John 20 recounts the resurrection of Master Jesus after he died on the cross for the sins of the world, and several of his appearances to his followers. The passage where the phrase is found 3 times is when he makes himself known to his disciples, including the 11 remaining who were most close to him. The Bible recounts he first said it as a greeting. He issued it both as a greeting, but probably to assure them as well. During his first encounter, he entered a room despite the doors being locked. That statement, he entered a room despite the doors being locked. He, Master Jesus, after the crucifixion, the resurrection. The point here, peace be with you, is that the unseen God, Allah, Buddha, the all that is, the Father, is always with us. And the proof of that is that the doors were locked. So where our lives, where our ego, mind, and personality, we may be shut off, doors are locked, no entry. The Father is still with us. The Holy Spirit is still with us. Your soul source connection is still with you. It's still with us. It can never be extrapolated from us. Never. It cannot happen. So he entered a room despite the doors being locked. On the evening of that day, the first day of the week, the doors being locked where the disciples were for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood among them and said to them, peace be with you. To show them he was himself, and probably to calm them down, he showed them his nail-pierced hands and side and the scars he still bore. The second time he said it, he began instituting the Great Commission and did an act which was the precursor to Pentecost. At Pentecost, you see the images, they're gathered, and baptism by fire, illumination, the flames, the Holy Spirit descending upon them in Pentecost, and it illuminates, it expands them, it awakens their divinity. When Master Jesus had said this, he showed them his hands and his side. Then the disciples were glad when they saw the Lord. Jesus said to them again, peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, even so I am sending you. And when he said this, he breathed on them and said to them, receive the Holy Spirit. When Jesus said, peace be with you, in that second time, he more than likely was indicating the Father's peace was going to be with them in a more permanent and sustainable way after he ascended. At this moment, he gives them the Holy Spirit and begins the process of instituting the church. This moment did not formally give every believer the Holy Spirit, just the disciples present in the room. However, it did empower the ones there to begin acting in his name. The Holy Spirit is also called the Comforter in many translations of the Bible into English, because it is God's permanent presence in the believer bringing peace. This is to say, peace be with you. It's our mantra, and remember that last week's mantra was, I rise like the phoenix unencumbered. And I literally just saw a hat on one of the third-party entities, again, against the backdrop of the U.S. election, camouflage hat with the word that says unencumbered. It's on behalf of, I believe, the Lincoln Project, on behalf of the DNC and so forth. So again, there's this aspect here, and this is not none of this is political. It's to demonstrate, as above, so below, the instantaneousness of the energies that are happening, the astrological legends unite, the energies coming together at this exact moment that's coinciding with all of this activity that is literally taking place, literal things that are happening in our world, certainly in the United States. It's worldwide, but it's certainly against the backdrop of the United States, the conventions, the election, and so forth. The choice before us, and what's at stake. And thus, here, because they said, the unseen said, the wheels of time are turning. I heard churning first, and then they had me exit out. The wheels of time, because it's not that they're churning, like something is churning and being readied or prepared. Or no, we're past that point. The unseen is saying the wheels of time are turning. Underlined, 3 exclamation points, done. Is it bad that Pluto won't be in Aquarius in November? No, because it's moving forward. And so Kiki is asking this question. No, because again, what's happening is Pluto is in its final retrograde in Capricorn. It will be moving forward prior to the election. So while it will still be in Capricorn at the point of the United States election, and then it will officially, not too far after that, move in by the end of, I forget the exact date, it will be back in Aquarius. However, the point being is that all of this, the reason it's going back is to finish up business. It is the mandrakes from Harry Potter. We are being transplanted. We are being taken from, let's say, an original pot or a small pot and being uprooted, where they're shaking the roots. Pluto is going back into Capricorn to finish up business before we officially move the next 20 plus years. Pluto will be in Aquarius. Now, it doesn't mean that just because we've arrived that everything is easy, it's easy street. No, there's going to be this period of taking root. We're being transplanted into a bigger pot to expand, to advance, to move forward. But like if anybody's planting, working in a garden, pots and so forth, there's a period of time when you transplant the pot from the store to the permanent one that, you kind of see the plant maybe looks a little wilty or a little bit, shaky until it receives its vibrance, until it acclimates to its new home. And then, of course, with proper care, consciousness and care and attention and so forth, it thrives. It lives, it grows, and then it can go and it can be, repotted from there into an actual garden or whatever it may be. But that's a natural progression. And so it's not a bad thing that Pluto is not in Aquarius at this time, because it's finishing Legends Unite. It's finishing up business. It's ensuring our advance, our peaceful transfer, that passing of the torch, and what's required of us to maintain it, to care for it. Because remember, Rise of the Guardians, we are the custodians of our life experience, of our soul, of Mother Earth. We are the custodians of our experiences. So they are in our care. Mother Earth, liberty, justice, freedom, equality. We are the custodians of them. They are energies, but left unattended. Leave your bicycle out unattended and whatever, somebody comes by and steals it. Because perhaps we didn't have it properly secured, or we weren't properly attending to something. Well, it's the same with our freedoms and our liberties, justice. However, legends unite. Rise of the Guardians, Mr. Sandman. Sandman represents dreams, our hopes, dreams, wishes. So the unseen is speaking to us very loudly about being the guardian and the protector of these energies, to do something with them in our individual lives, micro, macro. And, again, I say this all the time, institutions, businesses, small businesses, corporations. The only time you're going to have because what are they comprised of? People. Everything is comprised of people. So the only time you're going to have a problem is when you're the custodian. So leaders, CEOs, owners, entrepreneurs, elected officials, you're in service to something greater than yourself. You're in service, or the stock market, or what the returns might be. You're the custodian of all of the souls, the humans, the souls that comprise your entity, your organization. What are you doing with them? Are you inspiring them? Are you lifting them up? Are you demonstrating their value and their equality, their significance? Or are you snuffing them? Are you churning and burning? Are you snuffing them out? Because again, your character is your fate. So don't be surprised when things go south and people leave and there's, protests and anarchy and everything against your vision. If it's a vision of the boogeyman, of darkness, of pitch black, it's not hard. It's just you have to do something. You have to choose to do something. And that choice matters. Our words matter. Our actions matter. Lastly, I want to bring in the beauty of, and by the way, the main energies here, just want to show you these very quickly. Focus on number 19, approach, advance. The full moon and all of these energies and these double T-scores and everything is on the 19th. Here, it's the 21st of August, but the energies culminate in a 19, which becomes a 10, new beginnings, which becomes 1, the creative force, to initiate change, advance. So again, you can't make all of this up if you tried. It's incredible. It's powerful. I'm hopeful that it is inspiring, that it inspires you to look within, that it inspires you to look at your shadow. Remember, we don't kill it, we don't eradicate it, we purify it. We harness the power of the shadow to purify the light and the void. Yin yang, harmony, balance, to bring it all to, because that's why it's there. It's there not to control you and overcome you, to help you. It's there for you. We can learn some of our greatest lessons come from the cloak of opposites, an experience that's a cloak of an opposite. So something very challenging, but the challenge is an opportunity, and everything's a choice. Okay, so here Uranus at the apex of the chart, of this full moon chart. Uranus, a woman past her, quote, change of life, experiences a new love. Keynote, man's capacity to rise in consciousness and feelings above biological limitations. Again, it's been recently in the headlines. Can't make this up. Women, postmenopausal women are only, their only value is to be a grandmother, if you will. So a woman past her change of life, the Democratic candidate is a woman past her change of life, experiences a new love. Man's capacity to rise in consciousness and feelings above biological limitations. Whenever this stage is brought to a person's consciousness, the indication is that he or she should freely open his or her mind to the possibility of new beginnings. Ideally, the new beginning should imply a more mature response to the new possibility of experience. So it's about new beginnings. It's about possibility. It's about maturity. It's about value beyond a moment in life where virility, if you will, meaning childbearing years, whether it's male or female. Look at President Joe Biden. Ageism. Is there still value? Is there still honor and value and integrity and decency on offer past a certain age? Of course there is. And this also, the passing of the torch from one generation to another, reinforces new beginnings. It's cyclical. Our lives, generations, they're cyclical. And so one releases from Piscean patriarchal era to Aquarian matriarchal era. There is a handoff, a torch being passed. That's what's occurring here. Both the moon and the sun on the T-square and the full moon, they're opposite of one another, both have trees involved in the Sabian symbols. This is from Dane Redyear's An Astrological Mandala. The moon, a tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for the winter. The keynote, knowledge and skill used in its natural surroundings for the satisfaction of basic vital needs. This symbol refers to the efficient use of natural resources for ensuring man's well-being. Such a use is based on intelligent foresight. This is the beauty. Intelligent foresight, new beginnings. It's meaning we only take what we need. Remember, when the Jews were wandering through the desert of 40 years and the manna was being brought out of nowhere, it was very clear you only took what you needed. If you didn't, it's written in the Bible many times that any leftovers, if you will, of manna spoiled immediately. So you only took what you need. A tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for the winter. Intelligent foresight, being able to see the future, being able to see what's before us, the opportunities. So new beginnings, intelligent foresight, and then with the sun, many little birds on a limb of a big tree. And remember, trees, they provide oxygen. They are the standing ones. They're known as the standing ones that bear witness. Both of these symbols, these Sabian symbols for the sun and the moon, have to do with trees. The keynote, a wide and perhaps confusing openness to a multiplicity of inspiring potentialities. This is the sun, the life force. This symbol brings us the results of the two preceding ones, meaning the two preceding symbols in Leo 26 and 27. We should try not to be overwhelmed with potentialities, yet should enjoy the wonderful lightness of feeling this may bring after perhaps many days, months, or years of frustration or darkness. So in other words, not to get carried away in the possibilities or overwhelmed with the potentialities, but to recognize the birds, many little birds, on a limb of a big tree. It's not a sapling. It's not somewhere in between. This is a mature, big tree on the limb of a big tree. And thereby, what this is saying is, see, after years of frustration or darkness, there's light, there's potentialities. Just don't become overwhelmed by them. Harness your life force. Stay focused, stay grounded, stay open to receive, soul source connection, and that will deliver you. That will deliver us. It's not to be distracted. We're not to be distracted. We're not to be, when they say throw something at the wall and see what sticks. No. Your soul source connection will guide you perfectly true north. Here's Mercury. And this is the fixed T-score. I'm going to get through these other two very quickly. So Mercury, the luminescence of dawn in the eastern sky, the exalting challenge of new opportunities at the threshold of a new cycle. While the rainbow marks the end of the crisis, early dawn indicates the real beginning of the new period of activity. In the biblical symbolism, Noah plants his vineyard. He begins to teach the secret doctrine, which he inherited from those Ben Elohim, sons of God, who had not been sucked down into whirlpools of materiality. After the, quote, peak experience in which we touch our, quote, divine potentialities comes the struggle with everyday problems. So after the euphoria, after the initial deliverance, after the exiting of Noah's Ark, the renewal, comes the everyday issues. But at first, the state of deep inner exaltation remains with us. We are aglow with its promise. The way we think, the way we speak, the words we use. This is Mercury. It's a Sabian symbol for Mercury. The crisis and the blessings it has brought to us are relatively unusual events. Every day has its dawn, which we should meet with a pure heart and a clear mind. Alpha dawn and Omega, the concluding peak experience, are opposites yet the same. The key word here is illumination. So this fixed T-square, the Sun, Mercury, Moon, Uranus, are offering illumination, not be overwhelmed with potentialities, intelligent foresight, and new beginnings. It's fixed, meaning fait accompli. It's happening. Now, the mutable T-square, very quickly. Jupiter, the great benefic. Two Chinese men converse in their native tongue in an American city. The keynote, the need for the mind to retain its independence from its physical environment to concentrate on its special problems. This symbol occurs when the individual has developed new capacities for experience that may enable them to tap the vast reservoir of the planetary mind, the greater consciousness. To the common person, they appear to speak a foreign language. They experience a process of insulation, yet they are never really alone. Here and there, they find those who can understand them. This is about unity. This is about insulation, meaning coming in, what's at your center, and finding that you're not the only one. That in actuality, there's a host of others right there with you, speaking your language. Mars, a modern cafeteria, displays an abundance of food, products of various regions, the assimilation of multifarious knowledge through the synthesizing power of the mind. This, as is most often the case, such a fifth stage implies a certain kind of synthesis, or at least a preparation which leads to a new level. The keynote here is indeed assimilation. The negative potentiality of the symbol is waste. So assimilation meaning uniting, coming together, unifying our parts and our pieces. It's Mars, it's the initiator. The numbers today come down to a 1. So it's, or when you choose not to, it's waste. It's represented by waste. Last but not least is Saturn and Venus. In a gigantic tent, this is Saturn, in a gigantic tent, villagers witness a spectacular performance. This is literally coinciding with the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. This, in an arena, citizens witness a spectacular performance. The keynote, the collective appeal of a well-staged and exciting display of skill and or oratory, public speaking. At this stage, the individual person and the collectivity are brought together in a significant performance which subtly strengthens the communal spirit directly or indirectly. The implication of the symbol, whenever it is found operating, is that the time has come for the individual to dare to present themselves and their works to their community for applause or for the purpose of attracting a following. What is suggested is public self-dramatization. There is an ideal. There is a vision. There is a way forward, and that is being put forth. And last but not least, Venus. This is in the mutable T-square. A swimming race. The stimulation that comes from a group effort toward a spiritual goal. When man has become an expert swimmer, they have symbolically learned how to operate in a new element. This element, water, represents the ever-flowing stream of psychic energy and, in a sense at least, the astral world, soul source connection. Remember that beautiful image, our main theme, a cosmic reset, a cosmic force, the unseen speaks, the astral world. In a still deeper sense, man is now able, mystically speaking, to cross the river and reach, quote, the other shore, or to swim back toward source. Whether or not the symbol should suggest the competitive spirit at work is questionable. It is man who, acting through the most advanced individuals of the race, is taking a step toward rebirth, or toward a new mutation. The personal ego-centered ambition to succeed and to be first is indeed a sign of expectable spiritual failure. See, it's about what's at your center. It's not ego, mind, personality driven. If that's the case, it's an expectable spiritual failure. When it is from the heart, soul's source connection, soul-centered, it's an advance. At this fourth stage, we are confronted with a problem of interpretation. Is not ambition a subtle form of deviation under the pressure of ancient karma, and the competitive spirit so valued by our civilization a sign of failure to understand the deeper reality of existence? What is needed is emulation. This is our key word, emulation. And emulation, the process of imitating or copying something achieved by someone else and trying to do it as well as they have. The ambition or endeavor to equal or excel others, as in achievement. The point here is, again, you can't fake authenticity, heart, empathy, compassion, truth. You can't fake those qualities. They're real. They speak for themselves. They speak with no words. They're demonstrated. And so this keyword of emulation, along with the SABIAN symbol, which is Venus, that demonstrates Venus, the divine feminine. So in essence, you can't fake the divine feminine. Nourishment, love, intuition, all of these wonderful traits that the divine feminine aspect within all of us represents. So it's either present and real within us, within you, or, and that again, business, corporation, government, institution, or it's not. It's self-evident. So we're going to close with these two quotes, and they come from hexagram 19, and I will post this because we're running over, so I just want to get to the actual images and quotes. The first one: when there are things to be done, one becomes great. And the image is an image from the civil rights era where they are talking about equal rights now, integrated schools, decent housing, ending bias, this right to liberty, to equality, to freedom, to justice. We, the people. When there are things to be done, one becomes great. Our last quote: when you place yourself in a position to help others, you discover your greater capabilities. The first quote was by Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com. This one is by the master of the I Ching. When you place yourself in a position to help, and you see it's a group of women with all of their hands in the center of a circle, outstretched into a circle, creating a heart shape in the center. When you place yourself in a position to help others, you discover your greater capabilities. This is where we are. This is what is on offer. This is what is happening at this iconic moment in time, where a cosmic reset is occurring. The unseen is speaking loudly, forcefully. They are tipping the scales of democracy, liberty, and freedom forward. These energies are going to create a heightened sensitivity that we are going to feel. And they're saying we're going to feel them for a long time coming. It's a feeling. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Fairest. Who's fair? Who's kind? Who's the custodian? Who's in a position, seeking a position to serve, of service? Not for themselves, but for Aquarian, the Aquarian age, to nurture, to lift up, to inspire, to hold to account, to mirror back to us. And it wasn't the evil queen who was the fairest. It was Snow White. Mr. Sandman, Rise of the Guardians, and the Sandman, Hopes, Dreams, and Wishes, is the guardian of dreams and is the oldest guardian, the deliverer of dreams. But the Sandman is the oldest guardian. So these legends unite. They're coming together, the custodians of liberty and freedom and justice and equality, coming together to advance us, to move us forward. At the end of it, number 5, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. So things that are clouding our judgments, clouding our minds, will be removed. What you do with that is up to you. And last but not least, as Master Jesus said, peace be with you. Until next week, we will see what's happening. Be well, be kind, be inspired. Do not overwhelm yourselves. Just keep walking, keep connecting with your soul source connection, and keep taking the next step. And eventually, ultimately, I can see clearly now, the rain has gone. You'll see clearly, and you'll know that spirit, source, God, Allah, Buddha, the all that is, however it speaks to you, peace be with you, is ever present, is always with you, and is delivering us forward. We'll see you next week. Love you all so much.